from now when Twitch no longer has the botting, be like, it's right there. All right, so today we're going to be checking out Adaptory. This did just release into early access a couple of hours ago. It is a colony survival game in space. It's very similar to Oxygen, not including concept. It does seem like they've got a lot more stuff going on with like the individual. I don't know what the term is for them yet because I haven't played the game, but like your colonists and all that they have a little bit more personality. They got like a journal they keep and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Now, one thing I like to pop in is whenever I try a game for the first time, I do like to pop in and check for what accessibility settings we have. Now, as a reminder, the absence of accessibility settings isn't necessarily indicative of a problem within itself. But we do like to recognize stuff there. They've got, you can get rid of like the tutorial bot thing and all that. They got save. Oh, so they call them explorers. It's interesting. Oh, I'm assuming the name is just like the name template above it. They got data collection for, you know, devs being like, hey, if the game crashes, please send us a crash report. That's completely reasonable and fair. We have UI scale. I am going to bump that up because streamer reasons, making that for people on tablets and phones and all that. They have the option to get rid of edge scrolling. Yep. Yeah, it's probably good for me to do that. We want to improve the accessibility as much as possible, so please let me know if you can think of anything. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Like, if I see stuff, I'll call it out and all that. Not like in a bad way. Yeah, and I did switch. The units by default were, I believe, metric. I can't remember if it was KGG or KG only. And then Celsius. I went ahead and switched it to Fahrenheit because that's just what I'm more familiar with. It does warn me that it's not fully implemented yet, so we'll see what happens. Without further ado, we had a couple of things there, not major ones yet. Let's see, the two most common are the moving backgrounds and the screen shake. Yeah, so screen shake, motion blur. It's okay to have a moving background, parallax, but you gotta be careful with parallax. Those are good ones. Using red and green exclusively to communicate good and bad. Like, you can use color, but it's make sure to have, like, you know, if green good, red bad, have like a plus or a minus so they have symbolism. So if you're colorblind, you can differentiate that way. You get the idea. Those are other big ones. And all that stuff. So let's go ahead and we'll make a new game. Let's see, gases that are more dense, like carbon dioxide, go down. Okay. So we have a bunch of stuff going on here. Now, I was told that you can go in here with like this, and I want to say there was like for I don't know where it happens, but like there are apparently like existing characters in the game. Like Molly Berry has one where she puts in like a code and it'll give like a character that's Molly Berry, so you can have Molly Berry in your game, which I thought was a really nice cute touch. Use the Explorer seed. Oh, so it's like, yeah, it was because it wasn't MB. It was like WB? I don't remember what it was. It's fine either way. MW, right. Oh, might be capitalized. Or BW. Yeah, so you have, like, for example, you have Molly Berry here. So that's really kind of fun that they've got that kind of stuff. You only had 3 hours of sleep last night. As someone, I'm not a game dev, but I'm a developer. When it comes to launch day, I absolutely can understand the launch day where it's like, okay, you know, this has been the culmination of, you know, months to years of work. I'm about to hit the big green button. I'm definitely gonna sleep soundly tonight. The good news is usually after you launch, and, you know, the game doesn't immediately catch fire, that sleep's usually a good sleep the next day. Or the day after, depending on what's going on. That's usually much better sleep. But the lead into hitting the big launch button, that's a not great sleep. So I wonder. Okay, all right. So I see. So the seed is going to give me the random characters, right? Yeah, we'll do the one with Molly. Just because. It's gonna be a good sleep either way, because exhaustion, yeah. So we got our characters, so let's kind of look at what we got here. I will open the, where you can get your name added to the game, so we'll start the queue. For those who are not familiar with the queue, we can name characters in this game after people in chat. All you have to do to get your name entered in to be drawn to be one of the people in the colony is do !join. We'll let that go for a minute for people to get their names in. That way we can have consequences when people die. Unless I had no problems the first rollout. Unless I had, like, literally no problems for the first rollout. Yeah, the fear that you just don't know what's gonna break. I've talked about that in dev, what we... You know, this is not necessarily the proper thing. I used to call it Hindenburg code, where, like, everything works flawlessly, and then you hit deploy and you just wait for the whole thing to go up and fire. But, you know, that's early dev naming and all that stuff. So far, you've only had 2 crashes, which feels really good. Honestly, that's pretty good. Big, especially when you're deploying and you're dealing with so many people's, like, very different variety of hardware and all that kind of stuff. There's just always going to be stuff out in the weeds to deal with. That, like, a certain version of a video driver for a certain thing causes some really obscure problem. You know, and sometimes it's stuff you could just track down and fix, and other times you're just like, you know what? You just gotta update your driver, man. Because you have an amazing community that have tested the game in so many different ways. You're very lucky. Awesome, I'm glad to hear that. You love the term Hindenburg code? Yeah. Everything works fine, and then you hit deploy, and the whole thing goes up in flames. Let's see, for a long time, the game did not work in Turkey. Oh, because of, like, the characters being different in Turkey? So, like, certain characters would anger it or something? Or just, you know, some type of prompt having something wrong that happens to be, like, the Turkey localization or whatever. Alright, so with that, we're going to start drawing names. Okay, so let's kind of go through who we got. So first, we're going to have Molly. Molly's just going to stay Molly because we can. So we got Molly Berry, age 41, from Shea City, Asgana, who has the trait of curious, which means she enjoys researching. She is a night owl, so she's happier at night. Let's see, it's really getting into the weeds, but basically, the 2 lowercase works differently in Turkey locale. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, no, I can see that. Because I've definitely run into bugs between... You would have people enter stuff and they would use all sorts of different capitalization. So you'd use like 2 upper, 2 lowercase just to unify it to all be the same case and all that. And I've definitely seen where that can bite people in the butt sometimes. So she has the trait of obsessive, gets carried away with work and forgets to sleep. Generally is optimistic, and loves being around others, hates being alone. To boldly go where no gamer has gone before. Space games are amazing, don't get me wrong, but I can't wait to explore space and be part of the adventure. So yeah, like very, very clearly Molly coded. And from what I'm gathering with the green and red, that like this is like the gray background is just kind of a neutral. The green background is considered a positive, the red background is considered a negative. So like these 2 are neutral, positive, negative. So if we're looking at the accessibility feedback, it would be have some type of symbolic communication, whether it's like a plus, a minus, or, you know, plus here or a minus or whatever, to have the color be the non-exclusive distinguishing. Because for someone who's colorblind, these 2 would look the same. So far as like they would be gray or whatever, indistinguishable. That's the word I should use, or not easily distinguishable. But yeah, I don't think it's a big deal for this one, where you can mouse over them and they give you the details. But that would be a place that accessibility comes in. All right, yeah, like a little up arrow or a little down arrow. So like just neutral, up, down, if that's what the way that's meant to communicate. Because I am making assumptions there. So you got Dory here, who's going to be renamed in a minute. So they're 24. They're from Downley South Run. They're an early bird, so they like being awake in the morning. They're empathetic, so they don't get irritated by annoying explorers. They are a people person. They are smug, Sad explorers become more sad when this explorer is happy. Oh. Okay. Yeah, no clue they're color-coded? Yep. Neatfreed is a negative. I feel called out. So that's a fun trait. So when Dory here is happy and others are around her are sad, it makes it worse. As if she rubs it in their face. Unfit, run slower than others. Yep, you're colorblind. Yeah, no, and maybe Duratism, because there's Duratism and Duranopoly? I'm forgetting. There's two different red-green colorblind, and they basically are partial and full. But that's like, when you're talking about color blindness, that's like 96% of it is red-green. Everyone's buzzing about the launch tomorrow. How exciting to finally be heading out. As long as we work together, this mission shall be a success. Alright, so who is going to be our smug person? Who is feeling smug today? Ah, Mac Divine. Welcome to being smug in the colony. Alright, so we got Patar, who is 48, from Intara, Joneston. They are brainy, so they research faster. So that's interesting. So curious, Molly likes researching more, versus Patar is better at research. Which it is interesting having that distinction between being like good at something and wanting to do something. Chatty loves to yap. They're a nature lover, so they enjoy being around plants. They're suspicious. They don't trust optimists. What are they hiding? And unfit. So that means right at the get-go, Patar here is not going to trust Molly, because Molly is an optimist and Patar is suspicious. This is going to be great. I woke up in a cold sweat when I remembered that the launch is only a day away. I'm really starting to think I shouldn't have agreed to go on this mission. And who is going to be our suspicious person? Who's going to question Molly constantly? So that'll be Romanda. So you're gonna be suspicious of Molly pretty much the whole time, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we got Stemp here, who's 33, who is from Downley South Run. They are frazzled, become unhappy when there are too many tasks to do. Oh no, that's gonna get me in trouble. I am notorious. I am notorious for queuing up 1,000 things and then having my colonies and games fail because nothing is getting done because I just have too much queued up. So Stemp here's gonna hate me. Let's see. Neat Freak, irritated by mess, prefers to use storage boxes to maintain a tidy space. Organized, works more quickly when tidying up. Plumber, skilled at working with liquid and gas networks. Whiny, whines when sad, making everyone around them miserable. You two are gonna get along great. I love how we have kind of like almost an antagonistic relationship between some of these characters. That's certainly not going to cause us problems. Barely swept a wink last night. I was thinking about our mission. All the things we'll need to do to make sure everything goes according to plan. Alright, so who is going to be our person who just really wants everything to be neat? And that's going to be Moriarty. And then with that, we've got our first group of poor unfortunate souls. And we'll get to see this. Now, the introduction from what I saw, initiating unscheduled landing, autopilot disengaging, cryo chambers unlocking. Impact in 3, 2, 1, crash. Greetings, Explorer. I am your computational holographic assistant for resources, logistics, and information. You can call me Carly for short. We have to make an unscheduled emergency landing, scanning surroundings to identify planet. It appears this planet is not in my database. Luckily, you're all qualified space explorers. I'm sure you can handle this. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is pause before anything else goes on. So you can immediately see the similarities with oxygen not included on the surface. You're on a planet, asteroid, whatever it is. You got materials, you got your people here. and you're gonna be doing things around all this, and that, you know, oxygen is, you know, I guess technically it's included, sitting there right there on the ground, but oxygen is a finite resource. So you're gonna have a lot of similarities there. But you notice we had traits that are far more involved, so far as like their interactions with each other. They have different levels of friendships and all that. They have like all these things. So we still have the properties that are apparently made out of goo, but you get the idea. But one of the other things they have is they have the idea of the diary, that as things happen to it, like the explorers will like kind of keep track of their experiences, how they're feeling, all that kind of stuff. So I got a lot of stuff going on with that. Carly here is basically your tutorial. So just in case, because people are, I didn't mean to skip that. Thank you for having a back button. I would say, just in case you're like, I don't want to deal with the tutorial, like after a while, like once you've played the game enough that you're comfortable with it, they do have a option in the settings to just make Carly not say things, to make Carly go away. So it is one of those ones that every time you start a new game, you just got to go through the tutorial. You can just, you get to the point you're used to the game, and then you can just go without the tutorial. Luckily, it looks like all of our explorers survived the crash. By clicking in Explorer, you can see what they're doing, how they're feeling, and what's affecting their mood. Explorers will try to keep themselves happy. When they're happy, they'll work faster. Our explorers will do everything by themselves. You don't need to control each explorer individually. Explorers will autonomously run around and do all the errands they can reach. They'll also pick up any items and resources and food they might need. Our explorers will try to keep themselves safe. If they're running low on oxygen, or if they're in a dangerous environment, they'll prioritize moving to safety. Autonomously. Yep. Oh, I'm sure we'll lose someone who falls in a hole or like digs something behind them and traps themselves. That's just the colony game way of things. That's just how it works. However, they're not the smartest, and they can get themselves stuck. They can jump up and down across gaps, but they can't crawl under a one-tile gap. We've already covered it. We'll probably want to keep an eye on them at all times to make sure they're doing okay. Unfortunately, it looks like I've lost my database records. I can detect that there are some data chips scattered around the crash site. We need to build a research desk so that I can recover my database records. Click on the science category below from the list and choose research desk. Explorers can use research desks to unlock technologies. Holds 309 pounds of artifact, 9 pounds of data chip. The research desk doesn't need to be powered to operate. Click on an empty space near your explorers to build the research desk. They're prone to autonomously killing themselves. That is the colony game life situation. Doesn't matter. This, oxygen not included, going medieval, timberborn. If there's one thing this genre has, it's colonies trapping and killing themselves. Hey, Sherry, how's it going? Can we get a shout out for Sherry Kind as well? Yeah, Rimworld as well. But we can get a shout out for Sherry Kind, who's another fantastic content creator on the platform, so I highly recommend checking out. Plays a lot of Rimworld among other games, so definitely good times there. Yeah, no, Rimworld, so Rimworld, like, obviously, if you don't zone and all that, they do it. I find Rimworld's easier to manage because of the zoning there. But I do like priority systems in these games and all that, like Oni has. Your explorers will now collect the nearest accessible dirt, bring it to this blueprint, and begin building the research bench. We might also need to dig out more dirt to finish the research thing. We need a colonist killing themselves tier list. I mean, oxygen not included's got to go pretty high on that list. If we're being honest, Oni is one of the worst for colonists just deciding they don't want to exist anymore very abruptly. Also playing some Enshrouded, so you can check out Enshrouded with Sherry Kind. So we've got our research tree. Again, we're early access, so this will be a little bit more limited. So we got agriculture, infrastructure, which is background panels and storage, and a hatch. We've got power, which gives us 3 different tiers of research, lights and solar panels. We've got liquid pipes that also handles oxygen, so I'm guessing we're dealing with liquid oxygen. We've got gas vents, which is just moving gas around. We've got advanced research. which is more types of research. We got alien research, which gives us research analysis and display stand. And then a cryo chamber. Oh, revival, so we can bring dead people back to life. Alright. We've got automation circuits and all that. We've got our and or not gates. And we've got various sensors. Now we've got water filtration. Okay. So, considering we're talking like brand new early access, we got a pretty decent number of things here. We have the Explorer priorities. So the immediate thing in my head I'm looking is like, okay, what are your skills in these things? I'm not saying that might just not be how it works. We had someone who liked being around plants and all that. Right now I'm going to leave that alone. We've got our various things like the breathability of the atmosphere. So the stripes here mean bad. There's no power grid, so you don't need to worry about that. Green means good. Yeah, so we can't compare. The hope would be here is if the temperature is bad, it wouldn't be just red or green, but like maybe like you do with the air, that it becomes striped or whatever when it's bad. Maybe it does. We don't know. We haven't gone there. We have no water. Gas network has nothing going on. Light overview. It's light outside. We're in a cave. And network overlay. So we got all our overlays. That's pretty good. All right. So we're going to need them to collect dirt. So we're going to start by digging a hole in the ground. Okay. So, our research desk is built and is ready to go. All we need now is to select something to research. You can access the research team at any time by selecting the research building or by clicking the research tree icon in the left corner. I also appreciate that we can click on that, so there is like multiple paths to get to the same UI. Alright. So, here we can see all of our research explorers can do. Each of them require data chips and work to unlock. To get started, I'm going to suggest that you start researching the power node. This will allow us to build things like solar panels, coral generators, and wires. So it's recommending I do the power node. And as said, we got our generators, we got lights, we got wires, we got a battery, and we got other research benches, so we'll go ahead and start that. Our explorers can now use data chips that we've found to unlock this research. Research takes a little bit of time. More complex research will take longer. So, base-wise, it's not like oxygen, not good. It's got similarities. There's no questioning that there's at least clearly inspiration. Okay, so that's open there. We start by mining this stuff out, so our people have stuff to do. Okay, so there's definitely like a blue background. You can see pockets here. I keep hollowing that out a little bit. Now, one of the problems with what I'm doing is we have so much air in the area, but the larger I make it, I'm taking that same volume of air and I'm spreading it wider, which will make the air less breathable over time. Okay, we are just finding data chips all over. What's your favorite mineral? Mine's granite. Okay. I hope you like your granite. Yeah, Oni doesn't start on the surface either. Okay, we've completed our first research. Now you can build more things, and unlock even more research. We might be able to get off this planet after all. Answer cold. What would you expect the details command? I've never seen someone try and use that. We need a way to generate power before our distress transmitter will work. Now that we've researched power, we can get a couple of options for generating power. One option is to build solar panels. Solar panels generate power from the daylight outside our ship, but only work during the daylight. Our explorers can hold their breath outside the ship for a while, so they can go outside and build it. But we'll want to make sure that there's a door or hatch to prevent all the oxygen from escaping. Oh, Rad used it? Yeah, no, I'm just not familiar with what the command would do. Like, that's the reason I'm asking, is like, what would be the expected result? To see if it's the command I want to implement is kind of the idea. Do anything for a hot shower right now with my coal nut leaf essence shampoo. Alright. Like, details about the game? Yeah, like, I could see it being a settings thing. Like, there's a couple possibilities, which is the reason I'm asking. Like, details about the game. Gotcha. Yeah, so this is Adaptory. It came out in early access today, just a couple hours ago. And all that. So let's see. We have a brown berry plant. It's not cute thing. Yeah, I do have where you can get to the game directly by doing !Steam, and it'll give you, like, the price and take you to the store page. That might get you the information you're looking for. Okay, so we got a ladder going to the outside of the ship. So let's go out here. And try and put a solar panel on the roof. And I don't know what the range they can build is. I imagine it's not super long. You spent a ton of that? Yeah, probably. But I had to dig it out to be able to do anything. Oh yeah, nut dropped from 6 pounds to 3 pounds. Yeah, we dumped a lot of oxygen out. Oh right, that's the building thing. We can go here, we'll add infrastructure. Yeah, I still had to dig that out. I should have dug it out a little ways, put the door there, and then got the other way. Okay, I wasn't sure if this background means it's gonna leak here or not. Found artifact. Molly Berry has uncovered an unusual artifact. The identigram scanner has failed to turn up a match to the database. Jump to location. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to have to use a little bit of ladders to get that wire hooked up there. Yeah, no, it's definitely got similarities to Oxygen Not Included. That's definitely an inspiration for the game. Now, I have noticed so far, I haven't seen any idea of, like, a bed or toilets or anything like that yet. We'll see. I keep thinking about when I saw Terraform Space as the ship launched. I always knew I lived on a sphere, and this proved it. I wonder if we'll ever learn everything. Dude, you were just talking over Molly in a literal sense here. I don't know about that, but we should keep trying. Yeah, so they're having like the little friendly conversations with each other. So we've got that all hooked up. We can get a battery. So I can use the solar. I could deconstruct these two ladders because I don't need them anymore. Okay. Meanwhile, I can click on agriculture. I do find myself keep trying to click down here to get the research menu, even though it's up there. I'm learning that this is the build menu, and it's just... I'm just habitually clicking down here for whatever reason. How big is a hatch? So hatch is 1. Can I put a hatch in the same spot as a ladder? There's also Control R. Gotcha. Wait, they can go out without dying? There is an atmosphere? Sorry, I was explaining. No, like oxygen not included, your people can go out into dangerous environments. They just can't do it for long. Aw, why is Mac Divine all sad? Your stamina is basically done. Your best friend is Molly Berry, your worst friend is Moriarty, and you're mostly around Ramonda, so like literally you're splitting your difference between everyone. Recent conversation, I keep thinking about what we saw of Terra from the spaceship when we launched. Oh yeah, and that Ramonda's like I knew the planet was round. Okay. So one of the other things we're going to want to do is we got a big storage box. And one of the things you're going to want to be careful about when you're playing a game like this for the first time is you'll find yourself wanting to compare it against, like, again, Oxygen not included, since it has a lot of similarities with that. And you do end up needing to be careful about that, because it will start to, it'll start to influence you to expect the game to do certain things, and it may have just had a completely different design decision. Not good, bad, or otherwise, it's just different. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do, since we do have the idea of like CO2 and all that, and we're gonna do something to make more of it. We're gonna go ahead and make a CO2 trap. Oh, according to my research, I've been just ignoring the tutorial. According to my research, trains are much more comfortable sleeping in beds than on the floor. I wonder what sleeping feels like. Click on the comfort category below from the list and find the bed blueprint. Ah, it's okay. This is giving you RimWorld vibes despite the different perspective. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff going on there. Oh, and now it's... Watch out! Molly Berry has entered a tile with space exposure. Gases and liquids on this tile, space exposure, rapidly lose mass over time and turn into vacuum. Yeah, it's telling me my research finished. That things need power, which I just did because, you know, just didn't. It's similar to Oni. It's got a lot of differences though. Transmitter is waiting. In order to get off this planet, we'll need to use the distress transmitter. It also needs to be powered. Now we're successfully generating power. We need to find some transmitite. Okay. Alright, so I don't know how important rooms are going to be in this game. I'm going to assume they matter. So we'll plant... I don't want to do it that height. We'll just make it taller than I expect it to need to be. So go ahead, and I'm assuming that they'll like to have not dirt walls and all that more. You put a door here. Let's actually see how big these beds are. Okay. So I'll put a door here. Because worst case, we just lock the door open. I don't know the background tiles matter either, but I'm going to do that just because we can. Okay, we can prioritize stuff. We're like, hey, get that done. We can dig this out. And that way if I accidentally breach the space. Magdivine is low on oxygen and will urgently try to find more. We either need to find more elsewhere on this planetoid, or we need to generate more, perhaps with an oxygen holder or an oxygen generator or a tree if we research them. We do have planter boxes we can use. So I want to get that sorted out. Let's check in our research tree here. So, oh, there's the oxygen generator. So let's get the oxygen generator. We're going to need that. Trees? Yeah, and we're going to have to be very careful. We don't want to get ourselves in trouble by having too many trees. And I'm just queuing up a room for planters and all that, because one assumes food is going to be a problem. And we have Sound Asleep to giving a tier 1 sub to the community. Thank you, Sound Asleep, so much for gifting a game to the channel. It really does mean a lot. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Nothing out here ever goes to plan. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so we just gotta wait for the sun to come up. It seems Molly Berry has written in their diary, "It isn't prying if you're a computer. To read the entry, click on them to open the Explorer panel, then click on their diary." Yay, we're gonna go look at people's diaries. This is definitely... Day 2. Day 2.0. I was up late last night, thinking about the mineral composition of the planet. So many experiments I should run. So little time. I was doing excavations yesterday and I turned up something really interesting. I ran it through the Carly Adaptogram, but got no results. For now, I'm just going to call it Unknown Artifact. There's a lot that we could write about, but I need to get back to work. Let's see. You can learn a lot from your explorers by their diaries. Explorers will try to write in their diaries when there's something to write about and they're not busy doing something else. Oh no, we have to give them, like, time to, like, collect their thoughts and everything? Oh no. That's not all how these games work. Where you're like, no, queue up 1,000 tasks, you've got time for 5. And you just watch their morale slowly come apart. Ah, so you can lock it. Okay. So I don't have the ability to lock it open. Well, actually, let's check. Okay. So I can either just straight up lock the door. Okay, so there's a consequence for having lots of doors here. That the doors can become a throughput issue. Everyone seems tense today. Maybe we should meditate. Okay, what's your diary? Day 2. Dear Diary, I'm reminded of a quotation from the great poet Chasm. An ounce of silence makes a pound of peace. Never was entirely sure what they meant by that, but it's certainly food for thought. Number 1 priority for this mission is making sure that we all have breathable air. I almost choked to death yesterday, and it gave me quite a fright. Right, better put this away and get back to work. It's like, tee-hee, almost asphyxiated. You know how it be. Sometimes you crash land on a weird planetoid, and then you nearly die. Just Tuesday things. Alright, so we're slowly building all this stuff. Ramonda, please go get air. Oh, it's trying to tell me how to hook stuff up. Meteor shower detected. We're passing through the tail of a comet. We should expect a number of small meteors to hit. Take cover. Yeah, it's trying to tell me how to hook up power, but I've already done it. We're just waiting for... They made such a cute game? Yeah. Oh, you met on Twitch. Nice. Well, that's not what I meant to do. It is what I did. It's not what I meant to do, though. But that's a player push buttons wrong situation. Alright, well... Keep queuing things up. So let's see, can I multi-queue things? No, it's either or. That's fine. Oh, not enough power. So you generate 85 power. Right. So it's not enough light. So we're waiting on that. The carbon dioxide is slowly building up. Any seeds? Hey, DG, how's it going? Alright, so we can use light to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. Okay. Okay, that is not how I expected that to work. I am on board with this. And then we have the oxygen generator that holds water, hydrogen, so it consumes water. Versus this consumes carbon dioxide. Alright. So want to get that room next. Possibly before the food. But want to get that room next because that seems like it'll be very useful to start getting settled. I'm going to make this a little bit lower so that there's a little bit more of a height I could potentially run things. So we're going to want to put the trees. And we'll need to put a light over here. It would be helpful to be able to see what the... We'll put that there to see where the light ends up actually being. Because, yeah, it looks like it gets a cone. I think I might be able to move that one more to the right. So I think it'd be helpful to have, like, when replacing this, some type of overlay that's like, oh, these are the blocks it's going to potentially cover. Just to help with positioning. Granted, once you've placed it once, you'll know, or at least have a pretty good idea. You're playing Zomboid, glanced at your phone around 5 seconds, slammed a tree at 95 miles per hour. Deep wound, leg, fractured arm. Yep. That's the reason why when I'm playing Project Zomboid, people are like, why are you driving so slow? Did you take Sunday driver? It's like, nope. I drive slow because otherwise you end your runs real easy. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. We shouted out Sherry. Don't accuse me of things, Lux. We shouted out Sherry. At least I'm pretty sure we shouted out. I asked for it. Pretty sure we shouted out Sherry. Yeah, no, we shouted out Sherry Kind. Yeah, specifically, you did. Yeah, Grace got it. You heard car accidents used to eject players from the car in Product Zomboid? I'm not aware of that, but I also, in my time in Project Zombie, I've only been in a car accident like twice. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, don't jump on my case. That's all I'm saying. It's fine. Just make sure when you're gonna be like, hey, you know, you didn't do the thing. Make sure that's actually true before you accuse. But it's all good. Alright, so let's get this light wired up. Need more power? Yeah, we're working on it. The problem with power we have right now is it's a solar panel. Oh, you need 200 watts. I see. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's an off button there. We're gonna need to get that under control soon because the carbon dioxide is starting to properly pile up. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. So if these don't allow air through... Alright, so I'm putting these doors here everywhere. I'm gonna get myself in trouble with those. Let's just take the doors out. I will keep this door up here. Just that way if I accidentally breach, I don't vent all the air that we're producing down here later. Yeah, so I partly want to be able to, like, you know, lock the door in the open position. Kind of what I want to be able to do. Yeah, so we're starting to see the oxygen go up here. I guess technically I should keep this open to improve airflow. Okay, and we are just dumping oxygen out into the space. It's not that much, but there is a concern. Okay, we got a new entry in the diary. Day 3, day 3.2. Dreamed last night that I was back at school in Asgana and had to take an exam I hadn't studied for. Strange feeling to wake up on an uninhabited planet and find it less stressed. We got bombarded by meteors yesterday. I wonder where they came from. Maybe I can ask Charlie to find out where they originated. Other than all that, nothing to report. Oh, school trauma. How are you getting water? We're not yet. We're very, very, very early game. We're just working on getting oxygen. Unfortunately, so that's 85. That'd be 170. 235. And you require how much power? You require 15. So when the lights come on fully, that should bring that back up. I'll keep adding more solar out there. You thought this was Oni? I mean, like I said, it's got similarities to Oni, but no, it does seem like it's got a lot of different focuses in the game. That, like, the interactions between the characters are far more meaningful. Obviously they still have the whole thing where it's like you've got your power works kind of the same way. But like for Oxygen Not Included, for example, the solar panel's like super late game stuff. Whereas this seems like it's very early game stuff. I don't need to breathe. I'm a computer. Unfortunately, the rest of you need oxygen to survive, and your breathing is turning all the oxygen to carbon dioxide. To see where you're low on oxygen, you can switch to the breathability overlay. Yep, that's pretty terrible. In this overlay, you can see the areas that are rich in oxygen, in blue, and the areas that have none, in black. The oxygen is less dense than carbon dioxide, and will tend to rise. To switch back to normal view, you can push, F1 or whatever. Yeah, which we are getting our stuff for producing oxygen down here. Okay. So, you're producing how much oxygen? You are starved for light. Oh, right, you're not producing it because we're waiting on the power. That's a lot of CO2. Yeah, no, we're in a bad way. I'm trying to get this online. So as soon as the sun comes up, our stuff should turn on. Yeah, now you're not starved for oxygen anymore. So yeah, that almost immediately absorbed it. It almost makes me wonder if in this particular case, like, I shouldn't be approaching this like oxygen not included with that, but instead approaching it from the idea of putting these trees around just roughly kind of just here and there. Because I also know like how important light is to our people. So why is Mac Divine so sad? Recently famished, hungry, starving. That is what we call unfortunate. Have you considered not starving? Hey, Ronger, thank you for the 180 stream streak. I really do appreciate it. So we've got brown plants of sadness. Old Kesh MacDivine has died. ICEA protocol states that the body should be removed to a cryo chamber. Unfortunately, ours exploded on impact. You're gonna need to build a new cryo chamber. Yep, so they starved to death. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to get the food up and running, but like, this is our first time playing. It's kind of one of those things you'll learn with a lot of these games. The very first time you play just about any colony builder, unless it's a very easy game, usually... They had no oxygen, not sir. Oh, I see what happened. Yep. Yep, the classic. Yep. I haven't done that one in a long time in any of these kind of games. Yeah, so basically I had them dig down, and then they trapped themselves in the carbon dioxide pit because I didn't give them a ladder. Which is on me. That wasn't them necessarily being outright dumb. That was I put them in a situation where they didn't really have a means to get back out. Only as the sound makes you look for an issue? Yeah, no, it would have been good to have something to help alert me. It does seem, though, by the time you realize something's wrong, their oxygen can get pretty low. Natural electromagnetic environment or planetoid is creating a beautiful aurora tonight. Anyone who catches a glimpse will have an improved mood. I want to have an improved mood. They can just do whatever. I want to have an improved mood. Oh, this diary entry is not going to be a good one. Diary entry 3. Day 4. A few updates on what's going on recently. Moriarty is no longer with us. We're all feeling rather devastated. He was such a kind person. never minding when I asked him complicated questions and letting me expound my theories on life, the universe, well into the night. I should get back to work. Ramonda's calling me over. Okay, so Ramonda was like, get back to work. We don't have time for this. You know, dealing with the trauma going on. I gotta check. What is your input outputs? Oh, you need light. Okay, so I'm understanding with this, power is way bigger of a concern in this game, and light is way bigger of a concern in this game. I kind of like that idea, because what's going to end up happening is instead of having like your oxygen pit or whatever in Oni, you're going to need to have things more broadly available. Also, we're gonna need more and more power. So yeah, the solar here doesn't give us a ton of power. I don't wanna necessarily push out there yet. Molly is asking why we crashed, and Ramonda is saying there's no such planet as 39B Alpha. This was ISEA's plan all along. Right. So the two that lived, you're the suspicious one? No, yes, you're the suspicious one. Oh, good. We have the person who is suspicious of optimistic people and the only optimistic person together. They are our survivors. So pretty much, Molly's like, we can get through this, don't worry. And Ramonda is just the entire time being like, I don't know about this person. Yeah, so it definitely feels like instead of having like a room full of things to grow to eat, putting like one of the trees here and there, in that makes sense. So instead of purpose building rooms to all be like this is a person room, doing a little bit more of a blended strategy. You're sure they'll overcome their differences and not die horribly? Yeah, that's probably a thing that might happen. Someone recently died. You're starving, you're lonely. Why are you going to sleep on the floor? Dreaming, I like being out of the dark. Ah. Yeah, no, I see that. That's the reason I'm trying to do this, to give another angle for the CO2 to dump out of this area. But suddenly it seems like I can get less done. It's almost like it's distinctly half as much as getting done. I couldn't imagine why that is. Just all of them walking around being like, "Mo, oh." Okay, we got more solar panels on the scene. Oh, needs 0 to 100 lux. Oh, these lights are too bright. Okay, hang on. So those lights are absolutely murdering the planet. No, it's not really expanding too quick. We're just learning the systems and, you know, running into stuff there. Ah, so the issue here is there's too much light. Okay, so we want to have doors on this one. Okay, so that's also telling me that the lights here aren't just the cone like I was thinking. Because I looked at this one and it's like looking like it's a cone. Well, I mean, this one has a cone. Huh. Okay, so those are growing now. There's so much to learn. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like when you play Oxygen Not Included and you start the game and there's so much going on. We'll dig those up to put them in here. Let's see. Day 5. I thought I'd update my personal log, fulfill my ICEA requirements and all that. 2 days ago, Moriarty died. I can't believe half our crew is already gone. I'm gonna truly miss him. We have some marvelous times. Sitting up together, sharing ideas of things we were going to do when we got back home. Anyways, lots of work to do. Better get back to it. Have you written anything in your diary? Oh, what is your font here? Day 2. Oxygen is becoming a bit of a problem. Our standard suits were worse in the crash. We were always in danger of suffocating if we go too far from the artificial atmosphere inside the ship wreckage. Alright, so research. Get the next one. Did I play a small amount of Oni? Gotcha. Explores will research faster if near a writing desk. Mainframe. Consumes power to unlock more advanced technologies. So let's check here. Gotcha. So these ones require advanced... Okay, so these two require advanced research, the other ones don't. Good to know. So right now, power is the big thing. I can make coal power. I'm just... Part of the hesitation of going for the coal power is just... I have what's effectively an infinite power source that doesn't have a material cost. So my immediate temptation to be like, no, let's not get ourselves dependent on the thing that is only a temporary solution. And let's instead, you know, work on setting up a big solar farm that, if we can scale it, means power's just solved. So I'm trying to open that up to be wider to, again, help with the airflow a little bit. Meanwhile, we'll just let out all of our oxygen. Now, the curiosity is we're letting out the Oh, you know what? I am going to need a coal generator. There's a reason I need a coal generator. We are releasing oxygen and carbon dioxide out here. And we are converting carbon dioxide back into oxygen, but we don't have a source of carbon dioxide or oxygen to replenish the gas as we slowly trickle it down to nothing. Whereas a coal generator, because I'm going to feed it some nice good old healthy coal, we're going to go ahead and need that. So very genuinely, I'm using coal power as how we're going to repressurize this area. Which feels weird. Your radars have picked up a small moon between us and a nearby star, blocking all incoming light caused by the solar eclipse. It'll pass in a few... Ah, I understand. You shouldn't stand out there, friend. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, so it passed. So all the solar panels just ramped up. Power's back online. We're getting all that stuff sorted out. Oh, resource counters. There we go. Okay. This game is deceptively challenging? Well, yeah, like, Oxygen Not Included does the same thing. We're like, oh, this looks kind of cute. And then everyone dies, and you're like, oh, this is rougher than I gave it credit for. How full are you? You just have some dirt in there. Well, at least the person who wanted everything to be neat and tidy isn't around anymore to complain about not being neat and tidy. So no one has to be upset about it. And you produce... Oh, it looks like it might be smart... Well, no. Oh, you just don't have fuel yet. Okay. Also have as many mouths to feed? Exactly. This is just efficiency. You're just seeing peak gaming. That's all. Research finished. We can go ahead and go down here to the advanced gas. And also... Build an oxygen holder, burns oxycans to create oxygen, does not require power. Oxygen generator. Uses power and water to generate oxygen and hydrogen. Needs to be connected to liquid pumps. I don't really have a use for hydrogen yet. I've been watching for about 15 minutes now, and I was glad you hadn't figured out that this wasn't Oxygen Not Included. Oh, I mean, aesthetically it's very, very different. But, like, different systems of the game and all that. Okay, Killa. Like... Their aesthetics are definitely very considerably different. Like, functionally, the games have a lot of overlap, though, which is fine. So I think I needed to get rid of a lot of expectations. I'm making these rooms the way I would in Oxygen Not Included. I am finding more and more that that is not the correct decision, because that's blocking airflow, making it harder for the carbon dioxide to get out of here, and just making everything worse. And you're producing 500 watts. Alright. So that's good news. So with this, we are now at the point where I can make advanced research. I have that, right? Was the mainframe the advanced research building? Yeah. I need to make them happier. Your radars detect an incoming cargo pod. There could be some valuables. That's at a really inconvenient place. But right now, I need them to focus on all this. I might be able to make this work by making a door here. That'd be a lot of... Oh, actually, it's not a lot of oxygen because we're down to a couple of ounces of oxygen up here. Okay, we've already left out enough oxygen up here. It's actually not as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. Why are you sleeping on the floor so much? That's fine. You'll figure it out. But they are slowly starving. But I need them to stop and get that food right away. Okay, so you got that open. Put the door there. What? You're being grumpy because you're starving. It's not gonna help you. I need you to work on those plants, or you will die of starvation. Alright, let's go to our priorities. I probably should have done this a while ago. So for right now... Yeah, so smaller number higher. So we want to get Ramonda to dealing with the plants a little bit faster. So we can hopefully get that all sorted. The other thing we can do is dig a little deeper. Don't dig that, harvest it. Learn our lessons. Okay. So I can try running down here real fast and see if we can't get to those plants. It's interesting. You've got to use that to a higher priority for the plants. I mean, I guess we don't have that. Oh yeah, no, usually most of your colony builders, as I've kind of mentioned, usually, like, colony builders, city builders, all that, there are some that are designed to be very cozy and very easy, but outside of those, broadly speaking... Okay, those are medicinal. Did you make the oxygen holder? I have not yet. I probably should. Put up there so it helps out with the, like it'll push the carbon dioxide out from there a little bit. So just need to get these to go long enough. I feel like these you should be able to set them up to just like from the beginning that they're just instinctively auto harvest. All right. Ramonda, let's see, I'm writing a strongly worded letter to Isia if we get off this rock. Isia might not be to blame. We don't even know what crashed us yet. What's your biggest fear? Being buried alive. Well, you don't have to worry about that. That is not a concern you've got right now. Let's see, once a distress transmitter is powered up and collected enough resource transmitite from the world, you can transmit a distress signal. Cannot be deconstructed. So it does seem like Now what I need to be doing is all of this green stuff around here. That's the transmatite or whatever it's called. We need to be collecting a bunch of that. That does seem like it's a big thing we need to work on this game. Okay, so there's our play area for the time being. Good that we can kind of distinctly see where it starts and stops. And how's our research going? Advanced gas? Right, so you're working on that. Not enough resources supplied of the data chips. So I'm thinking where we're at right now, it's mostly just working on expanding and all that. Which it's curious to me as well. With the trees and all that, I mentioned before, I kind of feel like plopping this down and just having this chamber that just emits that might not be the play. It might be just a thing that we just put lights periodically and then just have a tree here and there. You don't end up with those like weird traps of, you know, carbon dioxide you get in a lot of the other games. So right now we're going to continue to expand this. We are getting a pretty decent amount of pressure there. But it does seem to spread out relatively okay. It's not like it's going to be too much of a headache. Yeah, music's excellent. But at the moment, I'm just having them run around, get what they can. I'm assuming we will do the transmission thing, and then there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff we have to do once that's done. So another thing we could also do is we're going to be getting our gas pumps. I could, on the other hand, deliberately pump air from way down here up to these tree, like put it over here to this side so carbon dioxide kind of sweeps across and the oxygen comes out the other side. I think that's what we might end up doing here. We're going to deliberately just tunnel down to get ourselves as much of a carbon dioxide pit as we possibly can, and then put the pump way down there. I wonder where exactly we are in the relationship to the rest of the galaxy. Can you put a in the middle of nowhere on the map? Okay, day 7. Day 6.8. A few updates on what's going on recently. 2 days ago, the sky lit up with an array of beautiful colors. An aurora. I jumped over to the ICEA guidebook straight away to look them up. Apparently, cosmic aurora are a rare but known phenomena. No previous ICEA missions have ever experienced one in person. I should get back to work. Ramonda's calling me over. Okay, so we have all the water is getting dumped into the hole. Can carve that out. Ramonda has discovered a naturally occurring water spring. We can use its resource to supply our crew. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So in this one, there's just like a crack in the background that water is just dripping out of. I'm sure we'll need the water for stuff, but we haven't needed it quite yet. So we'll need all that. And let's see. Yeah, so I got plenty of food now, it looks like. So that's all being handled. I'm also trying, as we're digging deeper, just snagging some of the transmedium or whatever it's called. Transmatite. Trying to snag that as we go along. Alright, so we got that one moved. Yeah, it'll be down here somewhere that I'll put the pump. And I'm also going to need to widen this up to give us better airflow. But then the plan is just to pump the carbon dioxide from there up to this corner. It'll naturally fall and then push this way, which will take it past there, which will push the air up this way. So we can effectively create some ventilation. That's the plan, at least. I honestly wonder if just like down here would be the idea. Functionally, it works the same. Aesthetically, it's got a lot of differences, but it's also working a lot different. Like there's a lot of interactions between your characters. Like for example, we compare like Molly here. So Molly here is an optimist, straightforward. Ramonda here is suspicious, which makes them not trust optimists. So that's certainly an interesting consideration. But yeah, they're definitely inspired. Very heavily inspired by Oxygen Not Included. Which, for the record, not sponsored or anything else like that. Well, crap. Just work on it. Don't stand there, work on it. You can dig. Alright, well, rip Molly. Yep. You've got this, Ramonda. Yeah, what is the loneliest number? Yep. That actually looks like legit food you're eating. Day 7. Day 7, I had a surprisingly good sleep last night. Woke up actually feeling refreshed. For once. The other day, a whole shower of meteors rained down on the planet. It was like the world's craziest fireworks display. I'm sure tomorrow, something else will go wrong. But I may as well enjoy myself while it lasts. Day 9. 4 days ago, there was an aurora of some kind that lit up the sky in shining colors. It took my breath away. I will make no reference of all my dead crewmates, because, you know, look, they were sus. Alright, I think this is where we're gonna put the oxygen. Sorry, not oxygen, the air pump. So put the... Oh, the air pump. Oh, okay. Hang on. The air pump is much smaller than I expected it to be. Don't dig that. Worry about that later. So with that... we can do this. Power. And then go to gas. And that should help get the carbon dioxide cycling out. We'll also need to open that block to improve ventilation. We'll get there. Ramonda all by themselves. All by themselves. We'll see the mission through. They don't need anybody. What's a little being alone and possibly crippling depression? Because Ramonda does not seem to be very happy right now. Alright, 1 second. We can use gas networks to suck up gases in the world and transport them around our base. And add them to buildings. Get this input. To see the state of the gas network, you can switch to the gas network overlay. I'll do that in just a second. Just trying to fill up my drink. Let's see. Molly Dedge to this is looking grim. Yep. It's we definitely got 2 people killed by trapping them. That's where 3. All 3 of them were by trapping them. They dug down here and we didn't have a ladder queue and I didn't realize it till it was too late. And then Molly got over here, dug the tile below herself, fell down, and then was trapped. Alright. So we got the gas overlay. The gas network shows overall pipes, inputs, outputs. You can switch back to normal and all that. And we don't need that right now. Yeah, so I noticed it said best friend here, which is a little concerning. Someone recently died. They're pretty unhappy about that. They're holding their breath, which makes them unhappy. They're lonely. They're hungry. They're recently famished. And they're near nature. So they're like, all my friends are dead. I am actively starving to death. Everything is awful, but that is a lovely tree. And I feel slightly positive about the lovely tree. And I think what we do is we let Ramonda get the pipeline set up. And then once that's done, we'll probably be able to let Ramonda just research to hopefully get the cryopod things that can resurrect people. Because we have a lot of people suffering from the pretty difficult to handle condition of death. I'm assuming. Okay, so you can speed things up. So I'll make it double time just to keep things moving. The forever sleep sickness. Yeah. It is a lovely tree, though. It is a lovely tree. No, the bodies don't rot or anything like that as far as I can tell. Oh, Mac Divine being dead has a 10% mood. Real sad. How much power do you use? 50 watts. You're trying to decide if this game rewards very slow progress. You kind of want to play it to figure that out. Usually with like this and Oxygen Not Good, those kind of games, there tends to be like a minimum bar you have to kind of reach to make things viable. But once you get to that one, slow growth is usually the ticket. No, this is an early access release. Just released today. Because the funniest thing is when a colonist falls asleep on a ladder, they lay down, they sleep for like 1 second, they wake up, and they go down 1 step, and repeat. Oh, I haven't heard that one yet. Yeah, no one's surprised we end up with some weirdness thing. Is there a demo? I don't believe so. Oh, there is a demo? I stand corrected. You still have it installed on your Steam? Nice. Alright. Oh, you're just raining transmitium or whatever it is on my planet. Okay, so I need to stop queuing stuff up. Huh. Whatever happened over here, something hit and suddenly this room is getting full of hydrogen. Like, very rapidly full of hydrogen. Merry belated birthday, Curly, also then? Is Curly here? I mean, might have been removed. Yeah, no, it would surprise me when you have, like, demos take work to maintain. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's like Curly's fantastic, and by all means, like, you know, happy birthday to Curly and all that. But it was just like, I was like, wait a second. Alright, so revival is down there. So I need advanced research, some data chips. So we're going to go ahead and let that go. We're going to try to work on bringing people back from death. Yeah, in the meantime, we're slowly putting more and more carbon dioxide over here. And then we're going to push it over this way. Okay, so they hold about 2.2 pounds of carbon dioxide. Alright, but if we can get that set up, we'll be in good shape there. For the moment, we can have them just keep getting their food, doing all that kind of stuff, doing their best. It almost feels like with the coal generator here, I'm gonna need to be kind of turning that on and off. Not even for power and fuel considerations, but for dealing with air pressure situations. We're gonna need to clear those off for solar panels. Pops the door open. Just pops the door, dumping all that air out. It is curious, though, right now, so with oxygen not included, everything is a loop that you effectively have, for the most part, almost always have something in a loss. You are creating something you don't want, or you're taking away something you do want. Almost always. I need to check someone here and bang it outside. Probably just, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just checking to see if Tomb's home already. Yeah, she's not home already. She shouldn't be home for a while. But this one does not seem to be that way. Like, we got solar powers. Immediately solar powers is, you know, a effectively infinitely sustainable power source. It's not producing a lot of power, but there's no negative output as far as I can see. So it quite literally is just, it makes power. So it doesn't seem like this game is trying to do the oxygen not included where everything is like the pulling the lever to like balance all the spinning plates. Instead, I think it's going to be a lot more the interactions with the characters, which probably is one of the reasons why they give us the option to revive people. Because I'm also not seeing a way to get more people once your round starts. There's probably going to be one, but thus far we have not run into it. Yeah, so we're collecting all the junk that's laying around everywhere as Ramonda desperately tries to research things to bring back their friends. They're just grabbing one data chip after another, desperately trying to research resurrection. They found a necromancer on the dark web. They've gone and reached out to some eldritch horrors. They'll find a way. Yeah, and our oxygen solution here seems to be working pretty well. We're watching as the carbon dioxide in the pit slowly goes down. And then the oxygen is starting to fill up this area. They probably have enough transmitite now. It's just not in there because they don't have enough people to work on it. So we just got to keep that going. We're going to pick up the speed more. This can get potentially dangerous in these games because if they trap themselves, my ability to respond to it is there's far less of a buffer. You're happy that sewage is not a mechanic in this game? Yep. Hey, Snowball, thank you for the 3-stream streak. Catch the last 3 streams without missing one. I do appreciate it. Yet, I mean, they could add it. Molly, don't look at the bottom of the screen. It's okay. There's nothing to see here. You did not dig a hole and then fall. We are trying to save you. But check out Molly Berry, absolutely fantastic content creator. Reminded me that this game existed and everything, so I could check it out with the early access release and all that. But plays like a lot of Project Zomboid, a lot of other fun stuff, really good times over there. Yeah, no, all 3 of our characters died to the classic dug hole, didn't have a ladder, suffocated, you know, dug spot, fell to where they could not be gotten out. So we're just trying to have Ramonda here try their best to hold down the fort by themselves. No shout out will make out for this. That's fine. It is what it is. It's also perfect because it was you and Ramonda were the last 2. And so you're optimist and Ramonda is suspicious, which means doesn't trust optimists. What are they hiding? So, you know, an accident happened, and Ramonda was very suspicious the whole time, so, you know, not saying something happened there, but, you know, there was a workplace accident, of which there was only one witness to give their accounts for. This game is not easy. Yeah, no, I was mentioning the, like, one of the key differences I've noticed before is oxygen not included, as I was mentioning before. Everything you do has, like, you're taking one thing and turning it into something else that maybe is helpful, maybe is harmful. And so much of the game is about trying to, like, take all the spinning plates and figuring it out. This game doesn't do that. This game has an entirely different approach to that. Like, we do have resources we're depleting with the coal. I finally run out. No, I'm not on data chips yet. Okay, so we need to adjust this. Are the data chips inaccessible? Is that what's going on here? No, we got our data chip there. Oh, we finished it. Alright, revival. I need 5 artifacts. I have 3. Okay, well the good news is, I think the way we get artifacts is we just start digging. And you almost have enough transmitite for the distress call. There's a bunch out there. They probably just need to let you work. Yeah, if we just let you work, as long as we don't get into the loop of you just continuously filling that coal generator, we should be fine. Yeah, so this cycle here, just absolutely chef's kiss, air's handled. Like, we got this pocket over here that if I pop a little hole there, we'll handle that. And the way we could also fix that is I could also have this branch out over here and have a vent over here. And the same idea is I'm using the oxygen coming, or using the carbon dioxide coming out to like shove the air in, and we have the trees actually converting it. Oh, you only need one more artifact. Needs research analyzer. I see. Research analyzer. Why do you have to be so big? I'm assuming you're going to need to get a bunch of solar panels and all that set up. Okay, so I only need one more artifact, and then resurrections in our future. Let's see, are you venting atmosphere from the new hole in the bottom left? Oh no, I think the thing is my air pressure is getting very high in here because we have this carbon dioxide plant is just increasing our air pressure more and more. So when we opened that, it just kind of shoved all that out of the way. We found some ancient alien ruins on the planetoid. They do not appear to be Terranian or naturally formed. Oh, you mean up here? No, I mean air pressure is going up, not down. So if we are venting, we're venting slower than we're making air. So that thing's gonna have to get turned off soon. Or I'm gonna have to deliberately vent a bunch of air. Okay. What I'm trying to do is make myself some places to put some more solar panels so we can potentially reduce our dependence on coal. We go here and get some more wires. Yes, the distress transmitter's getting there. Oh, there's an engine down there. Okay, I was wondering why it was fighting me. Yeah, because the plan of what I want to do here is I want to get that solar so I can at least mostly run on it. So I can turn off the coal power as this air, because I don't know if it's one of those things that eventually the air pressure will get too high that it's lethal or harmful. But yeah. Definitely need to, gotta head out? Alright, White Tigger, you have a good one. They were hanging out and all good stuff. And I'm gonna go scrape that up. We're just trying to find one more artifact, and then we can start reviving people. I say not knowing the material requirements of revival. Or the power requirements or anything like that. Would you look at that, though? We are reaching the point... Oh, we are venting air out here. Yeah, the world is like this big, so it's a pretty big world. It's not a huge world. Alright, so change of plan. We are very slowly venting air. Some buildings, such as coal generator and oxygen holder, only work if the nearby gas pressure is low enough. So turn that off for a minute. Honestly, for right now, let's have you plug that up. Oh, hey, you can actually... Oh, you've actually... Hold up, you've been writing in the diary a lot, and I've been overlooking it. Let's catch up. Alright, so here we are. Day 10. The other day, there was an eclipse, which completely blocked out light for a time. Luckily, it passed very quickly, but it was pretty creepy. Day 11. Day 13. That's what I have to say about those days. Day 14. The other day, a whole shower of meteors rained down to the planet. I wonder what kind of minerals they're made of. Maybe worth an investigation. Day 16. We found underground alien ruins 2 days ago. I always knew the Tyrrhenians were not the only people in the galaxy, and this proves it. I can't wait to see my buddy Rem's face when I tell him what we found. Aliens are real. I was waiting for him to be like, my buddy Mac Divine's face. You're like, ooh. Not gonna be happy about that one. How much power do you use? 100 watts? Speed up time again. So I need enough solar panels that when this goes on and off, things keep going for the day. Am I losing more air somewhere? We plugged up the hole. Oh, it's probably just pressurized balancing with everything there. All right. Yeah, so some of these trees aren't producing right now because the air pressure's too high. That's the reason I cut off the carbon dioxide. %. We almost have what we need to run that. Okay. And we're getting close on that research. So I should be able to hopefully get the revival research, and then that'll make a lot of things speed up. Just by the fact of, you know, not having one person trying to carry the entire place by themselves. And this is also weirdly the happiest Ramonda's probably been this entire run. That the only complaints they have is they're recently famished and a bit lonely. But otherwise they're doing pretty good. Whereas before they had a lot to whine about. So I'm not sure what that says, that everyone else there died, and Ramonda's like, you know what? This isn't the worst day I've had here. I'm doing pretty okay. I'm pretty neutral right now. Alright. So where is the cryo chamber? Stores explorers when they have died, allowing them to be revived. Requires power and 3 types of glow rose. Looks like everything's going well. Yeah, it's fine. I have no idea what a glow rose is. Friend died, -7. Brawler has a ranged weapon, -20. Yup. Okay, so for the moment, I'm going to just intervene here and say, maybe you worry about the research just a smidge less right now. So if we can have you... Oh, must be just like buildings or something. It's fine. The power went out. You just run around, start working on things. I'm assuming these are going to be very costly power-wise. Oh, yeah, they are. Let's build just one. Because that's 500 power I gotta figure out. Okay. So there's the negative about the solar power. Is it's just, you need a lot. Okay, but things are looking pretty good now. We basically got all of the carbon dioxide, except for this one little enclosed room, has been filtered out. And the one little pocket right here that doesn't have ventilation to get around. We could probably fix that by digging that one tile there. And I'll let it dump the carbon dioxide that's trapped there straight down into the oxygen pit. We just let them run, we'll be able to get this sorted out. Once the air pressure starts to get a bit lower, we'll turn the generator back on. Yeah, the air pressure's still very high down there. Okay, we're getting our solar panel built out here. Yeah, because it definitely is one of those things that we manage to store a little bit, but I don't have enough surplus. So it doesn't actually power up the battery as well. Okay, well, we've got our first person stored in their room. Got a bunch of random plants planted on things. Ah. Yam Yam's not going to work there. It's fine. We'll deal with that later. So let's see if we get enough power to start getting these batteries up. Because each one of the solar panels is about 85 power. When they hit max. So yeah, with that chamber, it's not doing. Transmitter waiting. Okay. We finished the research. We'll just keep expanding, I guess. I don't have enough power to actually run the resurrection thing. I also need to figure out the materials. So it wants 3 materials. So it needs blue glow rose, a blue bioluminescent flower. It only grows in darkness and thrives best when fed with granite, but can self-seed in various terrain, including dirt and all that. Combining the crushed petals of the 3 glow roses is needed to revive an explorer. And then the green one only grows in darkness, and the purple one. So basically we've got these flowers I've got to find. And we got to use those flowers to feed this thing. Yeah, we want to get it so we're making enough power to keep everything running when I don't have that on. They're dropping down to about 8-9 pounds. You know, somewhere around 6 pounds, I believe, is where we started. Okay, so that's sand. That's probably just going to break apart. So let's cut through here. And we're finding gold and all that. Okay, the distress signal is fully supplied with power and just needs someone to operate it. Select transmit. Distress call. The power ran out before the distress call finished. Well, we're getting there. Please go to air. I'm pushing my luck with you real far. Aw, you're having a tantrum and you're refusing to work? Aw, that's fair. You wish you had a friend to talk to. You're feeling miserable. That's fair. Our food supplies are running low. What do you mean? I've got 273. Sorry, Carly, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the state of our food. Okay, so let's see if we manage to get to the point where that's going to be a net positive in power. Imagine what we could do if we had 4 people running around here. That's a statue. There we go. We got purple glow rose right there. That's our target, because if I get those, we can potentially start resurrecting people. Oh wait, this is the same thing. Oh. Okay. Okay, I thought that was a much bigger thing. Alright. Let's make sure we keep this thing set to urgent. Alright, so I guess, so we've got the purple one over here. We got the green one. And what else did we need? So it's the blue, the green, the purple. So purple's there. Green is here. And then the blue one we haven't seen yet. So that's going to be what things we're going to be working on. So we are barely getting a little bit of power here. So I want to be able to get to this glow rose here. We can do all this. That takes care of the purple. So we just gotta find a blue glow rose. And then people start getting resurrected again. Well, not again, in the first place. You're also down to one colonist? Yeah, I feel like when you have one colonist, it's just way easier to keep track of what's going on, so you're less likely to just get them killed by having them trap themselves. It seems like you made really good progress with the base, though. Yeah, I mean, I just have Ramonda just taking care of everything themselves. The big thing we need to do is explore, because I've got the green thing for resurrecting. I need the blue and the purple, and I got the purple right there. We don't see the blue. Ramonda rocks. Fact. Ramonda holding this whole thing together. Alright, Nigel, you take it easy. And thank you again for tuning in. Oh, 1 second. Tomb just texted me, he's like, I'm home. So I'm going to step away for just a couple minutes to run downstairs and look at my home. Did you do the transmitter thing? Not yet. So I've got the power, but my power isn't steady, so it keeps turning off while they're trying to signal. So I need to get that sorted. Alright, I'm going to quickly run downstairs, welcome my wife home, throw some food in the oven, and I'll be right back up. And thank you again for tuning in, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I am back. Sorry that took a little bit. Was just getting some quick food for me and Tomb and all that. Welcoming her home, all that stuff. Alright, so we're trying to get... It looks like Moriarty is the one in the machine to be resurrected first. We've got the purple thing over here that we need. We got the green thing over there that we need. I gotta find the blue one. So I'm broadly just letting them go back and wait. But also, as... Yeah, see, we can't transmit that. Because I tried to transmit twice, and both times the power went back off before the transmission was done. Alert! My radars have detected an ISC vessel, traveling within range of Eteria 4. But the analysis of the current trajectory indicates it should make contact in a matter of seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, impact. It looks like the vessel has crashed, but the vessel remains mostly intact. In fact, I can detect a faint energy signature coming from inside. We should send someone out there to investigate it. Alright, I understand. Okay, so we got both the purple and the green available now. Who are you? Who sent you here? My name's Ifana, and that's Miva. We're here to get you out of this mess. Mata, who knew the distress signal would actually work? Let's get out of here. Well, that's the one thing I haven't told you. We're all out of fuel, and it looks like we damaged one of our engines on the landing. Plus, the ship's too small for all three of us to fit inside. You've got to be kidding me. If it's no good as a rescue ship, but we could use it as a distress beacon, if we collect water, hydrogen, coralite, and some extra transmitite, we could refuel and fix the engine, then send the ship back to the ICEA headquarters on Terra with our coordinates. I guess it's worth a try. Oh, we got a whole lot of people thing there. Liquid networks suck up liquids in your world and transport them around your base. Add them to the buildings a lot. Basically, we need to hook up a bunch of stuff to that. I get it. Right. So that means we have to change the way I'm dealing with this. Because you need to have an actual ground underneath you based on those icons. So we'll need to go over here. We can deconstruct that. It's not going to do me any good there. It'll end up putting a ladder here. Alright, in the meantime, we got two brand new people, two brand new victims, I mean people living here. So we've got one here, Miva, who is creative and electrician, so they work better on electric stuff. They're lazy, so they work slow. Rescued is a neutral thing. They are restless, and they are soft, which means they become upset when sleeping on the ground. So we have our electrician, who's going to be the next person. Actually, let me make sure I can name you. Okay, we have our electrician. So that is going to be Sniper Spice. That the game did not like. I was trying to click to where I could potentially type there, and that it did not much care for. Yeah, no, what happened was I went to change the name, and they put the little thing for, like, the enter icon for when you finish typing it in, and I tried to type it in, and it didn't seem to take. And then when I clicked on the enter icon where you confirm it, I'm assuming what happened is it tried to give them a no, like an empty name, and the game just went, empty string isn't a valid name? Madness. Satisfactory playthrough again soon? Probably not. I've already done 3 full playthroughs of Satisfactory since it went 1.0. And so it's kind of one of those ones that, yeah, they've had updates since then, but most of those updates have just been like quality of life kind of things, not really content updates. So it's not often I will tend to replay a game that I've already kind of done everything in. At least not many times. Alright, so now I get to see, so the autosave is something like 10 or 15 minutes between autosaves. So worst case, it should have autosaved to like when I started my break. Is the farthest back it could be. Yeah, so transmitter's ready. We just haven't actually transmitted. Yeah, so it's like, basically all we were missing is just the last 2 pieces of ladder there. And then doing the transmitter. Yeah, the Satisfactory is excellent, but like, over 20,000 games came out this last year. Okay, so we're just gonna skip that dialogue. We just did that. Now that we know that this is going to be a thing, And honestly, between Satisfactory and Factorio, I would probably replay Factorio before I replayed Satisfactory again. One, because of Space Age, that content is fresher for me. Like, I've done a playthrough, but I've only done one. And broadly speaking, from a replayability standpoint, I like Satisfactory more than... Or sorry, I like Factorio more than Satisfactory. There's just a lot more depth to it than Satisfactory has. Not that Satisfactory is bad. I very much enjoy it. Like I said, I played through the game 3 full times since it released. But there's many more systems in Factorio, which gives it a lot more variety of how you can approach tackling problems. Okay, so we're working on getting that all sorted out. It's interesting to me that I am just venting all the oxygen again and again. It's just like, yeah, it's fine. Pretty soon, this carbon dioxide should... I mean, honestly, I'd expect it to have already done so. I'm, like, expecting the carbon dioxide to, like, push out to the sides more. The one thing that could help is I could break this tile. That tile is not strictly required. And it should let me vent more of the carbon dioxide down into the trees. We'll try and get access to those. I won't bother trying to name them again. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the naming pool. Because it did crash the game. I think it's more important that we check out the game and see where it's at versus specifically getting a name in the game. Okay, we turn that back on. Okay, so Ramonda here. I've not been keeping up with the diaries. I kind of wish there was something that more grabbed your attention. The diaries. Alright, so we found the ruins. Day 17. A long time ago, I almost suffocated when I strayed too far away from the artificial environment. I really took oxygen for granted back home. Day 19. We really need to start thinking about our oxygen supplies. Today I ran out of breathable oxygen for a bit, and I had to run back inside the ship for safety. We can't let this keep happening. Day 21. I had a surprisingly good sleep last night. I woke up feeling refreshed for once. We really need to start thinking about our oxygen. This keeps happening. I'm sure tomorrow something else will go wrong. Day 22. I tend to get a bit cranky when I haven't had any food, and a long time ago was no exception. When I'm hungry, I hate the world and everything in it. When I'm full, I only hate some of the world. Day 23. I tend to get a bit cranky when I haven't had... Alright, so we got... Alright, so maybe we don't need to necessarily have the diary always prompt you. The diaries are interesting. Definitely for the game with what they're doing, they're definitely going to need a lot of variance in the diary entries. Because, like, it's one thing that it can be good being like, hey, oxygen's low, hey, that's useful. But, I think if there's not enough variance, people just ignore it. Okay, so like I said, alright, so it actually gave us 2 different named people. So let's go here. So the two new people we got is we got an archaeologist who gets frazzled, so they become unhappy when there's too many tasks. They get irritated by people who are chatty. They're stoic, so they don't mind sleeping on the ground and could go longer without food, and they move slower. They got a creative person who loves to dig, who loves nature, who was rescued, who has high self-control but doesn't like sleeping on the ground. Yeah, I'll deal with that. We need more beds. It doesn't seem like there's a decoration score or anything like that I gotta fuss with. So go ahead and put a floor down here. We'll grab comfort. put some beds there. And we're gonna clean that up and toss more solar panels down here. The carbon dioxide production's still online. Where did the water come from that's causing us a problem here? That's actually an issue because now that's pulling up the water too deep. Okay, so you need transmatite, hydrogen, coralite, and coralite is used in place of coal generators. And we get it from the coralite plant. Alright, so basically we're exploring for plants. For a moment I thought they'd already dug down there and trapped themselves. I was like, don't you dare. So I need you to go out this way farther so we can explore more. It doesn't seem to be venting air out, as best I can tell. Okay, so you got that sorted. That's an oxybel plant. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so you're gonna need water, you're gonna need hydrogen, transmatite, and coralite. I think the first thing is locating the coralite. The other thing I need to do is no yams in these. And actually get the glow rose in there so I can make it at home. So there's a coralite. It requires like next to no light. We can actually do here. So you pop a hole in there. Keep on digging the tunnel. You're working in the coralite to get all that stuff going. Blue glue. There's the blue one. So before we accidentally flood it and kill it, we need to grow it at home. Let's dig a bit deeper so we can have all this water pool down in here. Steam. Why are we getting steam? That is 200. I have made a mistake. No, there's a lot of differences, JD. Like on the surface, the appearances, it has similar, but it's definitely a departure. So we got a problem here. It wasn't very easy for me to tell that that was really hot. And so we are hitting an immensely hot area. So I need to get over here to the blue glue rose, and then we can start rezzing people. Yeah, so this whole area down here is immensely hot. But yeah, and there's definitely a similar approach to oxygen not included on the surface. Oh, and there's purple glow rose down here as well. That's all good. But like oxygen not included, so much of it is like, you do this thing, it creates like this byproduct, and I gotta deal with that byproduct, which makes you need to deal with this byproduct, which makes you need to deal with this byproduct. So you're doing all this like spinning the plates, trying to balance all that. That does not appear to be the focus of this game, from what I'm finding at all. it doesn't seem to be a lot more hard set on that kind of stuff. So, like, when people die, you can actually just resurrect them, which is what I'm working on right now. Yes, that's all just straight up steam down there, so we need to not dig deeper than we already are. This whole area is way too hot. So, deconstruct that. Put a wall there. I don't know if I can even make... Oh, it's right, there's a... And Moriarty is no longer dead. They were dead, but they got better. And the first order of business Moriarty's going to have is to go and resurrect the next person. So they don't seem to be having a problem with that. And for the record, this is a early access game that just came out today. Mac Divine, I need you to not be buried under the floor, if you don't mind. The Steam discussions, the dev was replying to Peep saying it's an Oni clone. Responded basically saying, strong influence, but trying to make a game that's more Oni, Rimworld, Dwarf Fortress in one. You have a lot of things that are not Oni down the road. Yeah, no, that's kind of the thing that I was led to believe, is like it's going to be a lot more like random events, that kind of stuff going on. Stuff that is just not present at all in Oxygen Not Included. Like Oxygen Not Included, like once it's generated, other than like some RNG around the meteors, the world generation is the only real wildcard randomization you have in Oni. Versus this one, we've already had a couple of events. Nothing major yet, but it is early access, so who knows? So it looks like the transmitter doesn't do anything more. I'm gonna take it apart. Yeah, and the fact you can resurrect people easy. But yeah, no, I'd definitely say it is certainly heavily inspired by Oxygen Not Included. But it's not just straight up doing the same thing. Alright, so we got our next person resurrected. I'm also noticing that they're all leaving Molly for being the last one to resurrect. Which is certainly a decision. Yeah, it's going to be a whole thing. Alright, so from here, we do need the Coralite. That's just going to take time. We need the hydrogen. And we need the water. So we do have a water spring over here, and I think that's what we deal with for our water. So bring it over here, liquids, we need a liquid pump. We can run the power over there. Now we need the liquid pipe. So that'll be our water. I'm not too worried about it getting mixed because we are dealing with a water spring there. I probably should just go here and block that off to force the water this way. I'm getting a bit curious and concerned about this. It's just so hot down there, and I don't see a way we can realistically deal with that. Well, one way we could actually deal with the heat, now I think about it, is because it is exchanging heat with the steam, I could deliberately, once you get the water pumped up there, I could make this water node just dump in there and have the steam come out the side. It'll be interesting where it goes to diverge, because at first look, the terrain generation UI are very close to Oni. If the dev doesn't want it to be an Oni clone and dismissed quickly, they need to review the UI and want to not make it look similar. You love a story-driven game that can manage to mush the art games. Yeah, I do think there is a certain amount of stuff there. Like, the art assets for the characters and all that stand out. But yeah, no, because it aesthetically looks a lot like Oni when it comes to, you know, just you have like your ground terrain and all that. And I'm talking more like the grid, not the physical art itself. That yeah, no, it definitely like you take one glance at it and it immediately makes you think Oni. Which is fine. But it is going to be a thing that people think, because there are a lot of games out there that are just cheap flips. Which this isn't one. Like, there's definitely a lot more going on here. For the record, again, not sponsored. They didn't give me a key or anything like that. There's no conflict of interest here or whatever. But, with it all, it's just one of those things where it's like, because it well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like, when we pulled up Hytale, people like Minecraft. Or they pull up, Vintage Story, people like Minecraft. And Vintage Story and Minecraft have almost nothing in common beyond their survival crafters that are voxel-based. I feel like there is a certain part of that where your games are going to look like other games. Especially as you have more and more and more game, it's much harder to have a distinct look to your game. I don't envy that problem. But yeah, anytime you play anything voxel, all you hear the whole time is like, is this a Minecraft mod? Is this Minecraft? And some people mean it as a joke, but it's also those ones that can get real tedious real fast too. Because you spend, like, you boot up Vintage Story and you spend 6 hours of stream being like, it's not Minecraft, it's not Minecraft, it's not Minecraft. Not that there's anything wrong with Minecraft, it's just, people are like, where can I get the mod? It's like, it's not. Is you're not sure using time on UI for newish sake is best for an indie dev? No, I don't disagree. Like, I do think being able to it's the same thing that happened with Coral Island. Coral Island looks very distinctly not Stardew, but the start of Coral Island just really resonates with Stardew. Like, just there's that first scene that's kind of beat for beat the exchange with Robin. And so it kind of traps itself where everyone, you know, compares it as a Stardew clone. But you're like, nah, if you just get past that, like, that first week in game, you know, it very heavily departs. Yeah, as the time since the dawn of computers increases, the specificity of the genres must also increase. The specificity of genres? Are you saying how you describe a genre? I'm not sure what you're trying to convey with that, but you do like the art? Yeah, no, it's definitely a game that's going to get compared against Oxygen Not Included, because it's very heavily inspired. I think one of the things they could do to help themselves with that comparison as early access goes along is, yeah, you've got this. Right away, when you're very early on, introduce stuff, maybe the diversity. Well, right. But there's a certain pragmatism on how much you can vary. Like, coming up with a wider net new idea that looks nothing like anything before, that's not really, yeah, distinctiveness. Like, there's only so much you can do. Like when you look at some games and how they're presented, you can only have a realistic city builder, like your Banished type thing, targeting that time frame. There's only so many ways you can make that look, kind of thing. Like, that's not what's happening here. So I do feel like there's a certain amount that a game should be allowed to look like another game, as long as it's not too on the nose. Like, obviously, if we had like Clyde's art style running around here, then yeah, I'd be like, all right, that's just, you know, that's basically the same game at that point. Like, aesthetically, like you would look at it and be like, oh, we got the thick borders and everything. You know, it'd be very difficult to have a meaningful argument around that. Yeah, I'm wondering if I could cool down this area by making a tunnel along here that goes out to the surface, and then later on we would let the water fall in, it'd turn to steam, and they'd go out there. Your Gray is thinking more of the bot statement might be thinking, yeah, no, that's what I was that's what I figured. But like, it should be perfectly okay for games to look similar. That's fine. Because I mean, we've had that for years. You look at a lot of the RTS games, especially the ones that are supposed to be mimicking like actual people, your red alerts and all that. And there's a lot of those things that look almost the same, like very, very similar. You look at all of your like your Call of Duty, your Battlefields, your Modern Warfares, which is Call of Duty again, and all of those look extremely similar. But you usually won't have something be like Battlefield, oh, that's a Call of Duty clone. Like, you're allowed to have more than one game that looks similar. You look at like your City Skylines and your Sim Cities and all those, and they also look very similar because subject matter, they're very similar. This is a grid-based system, so I would say this is kind of the same problem of like the Minecraft slash Vintage Story side of things, where they are distinctly different games, but because they are on the base same underpinning, they're a grid that are representing materials. Because that's where the big similarity happens. The character animations are very different, but I would definitely say like the grid system there. There's also an advantage of some of your things looking similar, because then you get the expectation of what product you're getting. You know, when you boot up something that looks like one of the retail simulators, you know pretty much the premise of the game. And there's some that are good, and there's some that are crap clones. Look at the top-down RPGs and JRPGs, they look nearly the same. Oh yeah, like your Final Fantasy-esque ones, they almost all look very much the same. Like, that's fine. As long as it's not getting to the point of, like, straight-up asset-rich. Rip. Like, you know, a side-scrolling Metroidvania game where a person walks out in a suit of armor with one gun on one arm that has a grapple. Like, you get to that point where you're like, oh, this is just green Samus. I understand. Until you get to that level, games should be allowed to do that. Because, again, this game is doing something to iterate on the formula and change it. We want to celebrate that, because we want more games like Oxygen Not Included, so it's not one game carrying it. Because for all the things that Oni does well, Oni definitely has its shortcomings, too. See if we can't get a look over there more. Alright, so we're missing the... We're almost done with the car lights. I think? No. Oh, no, we're not. We're nowhere near done. We're about 1/22nd done. But I gotta get the hydrogen, and I gotta get the transmatite or whatever. And the transmatite, that's just this green stuff we find. Now, the hydrogen was the O2 generator creates hydrogen using water. So I think this is one of those ones where I'm going to want to make a contained space for that, not just leave it open. So I'm going to build that there. I'm going to put a tile here. And this isn't me trying to, like, I'm not trying to like call anyone out on that or anything. It is a thing that you hear a lot, and people know I push back on the language. This is a insert name of game clone. Because not so much in the video game side of thing, but in the software dev side of thing, the number of projects I've seen that I've been involved with where someone will be like, oh, it's a whatever clone. You know, it's a Facebook clone, it's a Twitter clone, it's a whatever clone. And there's been a lot of really important projects that have happened over the years that if people took that mentality of it similar to this art thing, so, you know, dismiss it, there would be like, you know, imagine a world where Photoshop is still like the only big name graphics program. Like, there's no... Don't you kill yourselves here. Okay. We prevented death. Let's see, in the Stolen and Mutated Words of Tolstoy, All farming games with a working concept look alike, and maybe like one in a handful of working options, but every bad game can be bad on its own, so it's not necessarily very similar to improve incrementally. Yeah. Like certain types of games are going to have a certain aesthetic. So now what we're going to need to do is deal with the filtering. So this is where we're going to have to get interesting with this, because we haven't done this in this game yet. So we got restricts airflow to one direction. I'm not worried about that. So we have the gas filter. Like, one thing I think they could also do to help themselves is, you know, like, they've got their pumps to be a very different design, but the air filter, which it makes sense. You have input, output, and the deviation. But, like, you could make it like an L shape or something. I mean, but then it'd also be way less usable. Like, that design kind of comes to be because of practical reasons. I don't need this many. Let's move those. Yeah, I think that's fair, because, like, there's a pragmatic reason why the filter's shaped this way. Okay, so the input's on that side. Oh, it's because it is pulling oxygen. And then there's like, man, this looks like it's just pulling oxygen. That's because that's exactly what happened. It's not a ripoff of Oxygen Not Included. It's the same kind of basic genre. That part is true. But it's definitely not a ripoff. And I can't imagine what the devs have got to be going through, that they're like, okay, well, we're going to take kind of this base concept, come up with something new off of this. And then, you know, people are just going to call it a ripoff Gingan. The publicly well-known clone, seems to me, just to be a tendency of human brains to file things with few known drawers. Yes, no, that is absolutely a thing. But there's a difference being like, this game is similar to versus this game is a clone. Like, to me, a clone is a negative connotation. And Zappy Game, thank you so much for the raid. I do appreciate that. I do hope you had yourself a good stream. Alright, so let's go in here. I'm going to need to run those to the input here. And thank you for over on the YouTube side as well. And so now you... How do I want to do this? These need to not be this close. Playing some Adaptory as well. Nice. That'd be a good time. Yep. No, but thank you so much for rating all that. So if you're looking for some Adaptory, you can find it over there. They're also playing it. Alright, so this is going to be the filtered. That's going to be the unfiltered. And I need to check the controls. There's got to be a rotate option. I have not found out what button that is. Input, key binding, rotate. R and Shift R. Okay, I tried R. It could be because I don't use a QWERTY keyboard. Okay. Let's go to our option and change the keybind. Let's curious. Maybe because you've been playing it, but it looks very Oxygen Not Included-ish. Yeah, no, it definitely has the aesthetically similar. If you're not sure, got you. That explains it. Let's see, we've all got used to similar things, especially since AI used in game development. Remember that it's not long ago that there were lawsuits for over rounded corners on phone. Oh, I mean, but half those lawsuits end up getting thrown out. Like that's not the right one. The lawsuit, for example, where Apple tried to have, I think it was the copyright for the page turn animation on your phone. Okay. So. That I want to be carbon dioxide. And honestly, for the oxygen, you can just vent it right here for right now. So you'll be venting. I wonder why I can't. And then we can go ahead and do that pipe connecting there. That pipe's connected here. Got the gas pipe there. Yeah, I'm not seeing how this is working. I'm trying to click on what looks like... Oh, does it need power? It probably needs power. That explains. It's like, why can I not choose stuff? It's weird that I can't choose stuff when it's got no power. I think that should be changed, where I can choose what to do with it beforehand, and it just doesn't work without power. Okay. Not enabled. Let's see. It was catastrophic to many RPGs when Diablo came out. They were either released recently or in development just after it, and everyone considered them Diablo clones. Yep. And some of them could be so very distinct. Oh yeah, no, there's a whole thing. It's to do with your UI scale. Dev has fixed it. Oh, so you're saying if it's with the UI scale, if I take the UI and I tone that back down to default. Ah, okay, that's an interesting bug. Blocked by high pressure. Right, so I need you to be able to reach that. Yeah, no, they couldn't quite reach it. There we go. You just came across it like 5 minutes ago? Yep. So you should be able to build these 2 ladders, and then climb up here and get that pipe done. That is the opposite way I expected all of that to work. Okay. Just with the graphic there, that is the reverse of how I expected all these things to route. Alright, so we can go here. So and this is the output. We can go over here, and that's your input. You can plug that there. Just take that apart, and that should fix it. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so now that should go through there. Alright, so we've got all that doing its thing now. You're apparently continuously getting blocked on occasion due to high pressure. That's fine. So what I need to do from here, though, is I just need to plunk down an oxygen generator. We're not too fussed about this. And I'm going to run the power to the oxygen generator. And I'm going to have a gas vent. Not gas vent, a gas pump. Here. And that's going to connect up to that. And that way we can get the oxygen from there out. So the next thing I need to do is grab that liquid pipe and plug that in. And that should just work. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Alright, Zeppy, you have a good one. Thank you again for the raid. Alright, so I should take care of all that. Sorry, yeah, we need to cool this room off more. It's continuing to exchange heat there. Like I said, what I might be able to do for cooling this down is literally just have a vent that goes here that when the rocket's all done, we would just let this dump the water in here and have where the steam can get back out, and it just keep exchanging the temperature back and forth, and any steam that goes far enough would just get away. But we should be able to, like, extract the heat that way. Alright, so let's look at how we're doing on our gas stuff. Right now it's mostly getting oxygen. Now I think about it, we can lock that door. No one has any reason to go in. Well, it's not bar locking the door. Let's not take it that far. But it should slowly build up the hydrogen. And so as that happens, this will go from being primarily oxygen to it'll have a mix of hydrogen. And then that hydrogen can be sent off to the rocket. So the supply goal, so we've already got 3,893 pounds of the transmatite. We've got it fully filled on water, basically. The coralite's got ways to go. And then we got the hydrogen. This is like oxygen not included? Yeah, they're similar games. Similar concept. This one's trying to do more of like a oxygen not included meets RimWorld. Where you've got like the different character interactions with each other and all that kind of stuff going on. There's some like event kind of things going on in the game, some story kind of things going on in the game. And all that stuff. Yeah. So it's less about like all the chemical interactions between all the different materials and like certain like things heating up and turning. I mean, there is stuff like you can see the steam here and you see it turning to ice, but it seems to be less focused on like, okay, now I need to get this hot and turn this into glass and do all these kind of things. I'm a lot more like juggling the stuff with the actual characters. I've not been checking their diaries. Alright. So where's the big gap in your story? Okay, so that's where you died. Day 27. A few updates of what's going on recently. I should get back to work. Ramonda's calling me. I see how it is. Day 28. Last night, I dreamed I was back in school. Yeah, so we get these, yeah, these get a little repetitive. I think they're a great idea. I like the personal touch of the diary. I think what's going to need to happen is for the different events, like for the meteor, having like a dozen different ways it can write it, to just give it some variance. I could also definitely see it benefiting a lot from having our stuff there. So that's getting extremely high air pressure there. So what I'm going to start working on to hopefully alleviate that problem is we're going to start making a ladder here that goes all the way down here. I am going to need to have a door here so I contain the atmosphere. But I want to give basically a place so as the pressure builds up, we can kind of pop the cork and let the steam out. Because until then, this place is scalding hot, and the air pressure is just getting higher and higher and higher. And then what I can also do is, as the water builds up, we can just dump the water back in here to kind of repeat the process as a way of leaching off all that heat. And we don't have... Yeah, I've got one more thing of research, and then we're done. This is pretty early access. There's not a lot in the game right now, but that's okay. But it's something to be aware of. This definitely was one you're buying in a game in its early access stage. It's not gonna be like fully fleshed out. But it's absolutely something to consider for, like, you know, do you want to buy it? Well, what is your tolerance for stuff missing a bunch of features? Okay. So with that, I think I technically have everything. Ah, I do not. So I need to change you to Coralite. We can change you to Coralite. Alright, so as soon as they dig through this area here to the left, that'll be our vent for steam. Because as they're popping down here and grabbing like the one or two things, it's dumping the water there, making the steam. That steam's getting out here, which is putting water everywhere. Now, one thing I'm noticing is it doesn't appear to be that there's a way for me to clean this water up yet. Not that I'm noticing. Let me double check. There might be something. Yeah, and I'm not seeing a means of cleaning it up, nor am I seeing, like, you know, a cleanup thing down there. Alright, just like that. Because just like that, we have got this starting to cool off enough that it's not turning it back into steam immediately. And we're bleeding off some oxygen up there, but it's just what's in this area. Yeah, so hopefully over time that gets managed. It's curious about this stuff, that the water there, like, we don't really have a mechanic to get rid of that I'm seeing. Alright, so with all that, I think we're stable where... Yuchi to stay to strawberries? Nice. Yes, I think we're basically waiting for this now to get sorted. Yes, the water's all sorted. You're waiting on the hydrogen, which is taking its time, but that's fine. So how's this game different from Oni? So you got a bunch of things. So like one, there's a lot of interpersonal relationship kind of stuff that goes on in the game. So you have like the discussions you have between all your characters. They have like all the stuff here. I would not say it's as harsh as Oni. You can kill your people as easily as Oni, but where like Oni, you're kind of running up against this timer of like, oh, the heat's building up, oh, the heat's gonna get you. Like this, they seem to be a lot more easy to manage a lot of that. Versus this one, like when your people die, you can just straight up resurrect them. You just got a couple of resources you got to find, and you're good to go. So it doesn't seem like it's designed to be as brutally harsh as Oni can be. But as far as the things that do stand out, like I said, you have your different personal relationships. So it's like when you're getting into your traits and all that, there are traits that play off of each other. For example, Molly here is an optimist. Ramonda here is suspicious, which means Ramonda here is going to be suspicious of Molly constantly. And that's going to impact their relationship with each other. Some will be chatty, some won't like it. And so you've got all that kind of interaction happening. But drowning your own people in urine is fun? Well, yeah, but that's what you play Oxygen Not Included for. This is not Oxygen Not Included. It's not trying to be Oxygen Not Included. It has a similar basis to Oxygen Not Included. It's definitely inspired by Oxygen Not Included, but it's not Oxygen Not Included. There's also, they've got like an actual story that's going on more where they crash land on the planet, and okay, well now they're trying to, they're trying to transmit to get like a come help us SOS signal, and that doesn't help because they have someone else crashes, and then they're like helping those people out, and they're like, okay, well there's that, well here's our way to try and do the next thing. So they're still trying to, they're like just trying to leave, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a lot more based around like running these individual things. I'm seeing a lot less of like, it doesn't seem like we need to make some material turn molten to do this other thing, to do that thing. It's less based heavily on the chemistry, while you do have like the water freezes and turns to steam and that, and carbon dioxide goes down and all that. But it doesn't seem like it's intending and trying to get nearly to the depth of chemistry that Oxygen Not Included gets into. Keep in mind though, this is very early access, so like, we've already finished all but one of the things in the research tree and all that. So they're trying to lean more RimWorld-esque, that we're supposedly going to get stuff like some level of random events happening in the world, some, interplay off of your characters and each other, that kind of thing, which is something completely and utterly absent of Oxygen Not Included. There is no random events on a real level. You got the meteors, they come down, but it's not like suddenly, I don't know what they're going to add, like a event and there's a fire that starts, or, you get a blight in your farm and you got to deal with it or whatever. Like, we don't know what they're going to include because, again, this just released in its very first version early access today. But that's kind of the direction they want to go with it, is a lot more RimWorld experience, but like RimWorld Drawer Fortress experience, but Oxygen Not Included mechanics, if that makes sense. Like the gameplay side of it so far as how you interact with the universe is more Oxygen Not Included, but like the storytelling, they want it to be more RimWorld Dwarf Fortress. But for a lot of people, they see that we're a sideways grid and we're dealing with chemistry, and they're like, I've played this game. This is in your wish list. It seems potentially a me game. Yeah. Now, it's been a bit of a bummer. Like, I understand people are like, what makes this difference? Which is a totally fair and valid question. But it has been a little exhausting about, like, it's been like every 10 minutes, like, this is an Oxygen Not Included clone. This is, whatever. Like, the way you approached it on Silveraxi was totally fine. But we've had a lot of people like, oh, it's just a copy of Oxygen Not Included, or like, it's a straight up rip or whatever. And it's like, that's not fair. And so that's genuinely been getting a bit exhausting. But again, like, asking what's different, that is a question that's completely valid, fair, all that should be asked. Oh, my storage is full. There's definitely some quality of life UI stuff. Why not make a clip or a command? If I plan to streaming this a bunch, I absolutely will. If it's just today, I probably won't bother. Which as early access as this is, I think we'll be playing this probably not even for the full stream today, probably like a half stream of it. You know, check it out, because I'm liking what's here, but it is very early access. So there's not a lot on here. I guess we're all still learning what the game even is. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing is, it's totally fair to be like, what's different? Like, there's a tonal difference. Like, the way Sobraxi did it is perfectly solid to be like, hey, well, what is the thing that makes this different? That's asking a question, be like, what is the differentiation? Versus we've had a lot of people pop just like, this is just a copy of this other game. This is just a whatever clone. There's a very different tonal. Like, one's inquisitive, trying to learn about, the other's accusatory. But yeah, no, absolutely. People like, what is this? What makes it different? That's fair. That's the questions you definitely should be asking. All right. Am I getting a meaningful amount of hydrogen out of there? I keep expecting to see the hydrogen pulling through here. I think it's because we're still... Well, that's not one... Oh. This is just an oxygen not included clone. I mean, yeah. But that happens. Like, it's the same thing when I play Vintage Story. That it's probably every 10th question is like, is this Minecraft? What Minecraft pack is in it? And it's partially people memeing. Because it's such a common thing said about it. But it's also a whole lot of people not memeing. And that's fine to be like, oh, is this a mod pack or whatever? And be like, no, it's not. And that's totally fine. Like, again, people are going to pop in, they're going to want to answer questions. Fair enough. It's the ones that pop in and are like, oh, this is just a Minecraft clone. You're just like, you know what, honestly. Honestly, then why are you here? With the Vintage Story one. Obviously, this is new. No one really knows one way or the other what's going on with this till we see it get farther in development. But like the Vintage Story, if someone is going onto Twitch, looking up the Vintage Story category so they can jump into the channel and call it a Minecraft clone, they've come to troll. They're not there to have a meaningful discussion. They're literally there just to poke the beehive. That's what Hytale is? I wouldn't even say Hytale is a Minecraft clone. I would disagree with that. Like, Minecraft's combat is absolute garbage tier. It's fine. It's whatever. But the combat in Minecraft is genuinely one of its weaker suits. It's not good. Whereas Hytale, they've actually taken the time to make combat actually feel good. There's special attacks, there's charging up things, there's like the whole stamina jungle, there's all that stuff. They've added a lot of things. Hytale has a very high level of mobility into it, whereas Minecraft, it took them years to implement where you could walk forward and your character would go up one block. And that's about as far as that goes. And I'm not counting mods. Like, mods are fine, but none of that's the official stuff. Yeah, Hytale is born from Minecraft. It is inspired by. But there's a difference between, you know, it's a clone and it's inspired by. But so you've never seen Oxygen Not Included, so this is like Terraria, but less exploring, more survival. Yes. And why did you die? I wasn't watching. What happened to Rwanda? Oh, it's because this whole middle area is just carbon dioxide now. Because all those... I see. So what's happened here is I've not been watching very carefully, and the air pressure's gotten too high, so the trees aren't working. And as a result of that, the carbon dioxide is just pooling up, and Rwanda could not get back to safety in time. This could go like that. And go over here. Gonna put a light on this side too. We only need one tile to not be too high pressure. Oh, you know what we can do? Oh, it's still talking about... Oh, no, there's stress. So I need them to open these doors and just let the air out. But the one thing that this game doesn't have, as far as I've seen, there's no concept to lock the door open. So what I could probably do to help this is if I have them run out here, just it doesn't matter what the project is, go out there and start mining. You're going to keep fluctuating the door, and that's going to vent a bunch of air. Can the colonists be renamed? Yes, but when I tried to rename it with colonists that got added, the game crashed. And I think it was because just the way the UI was having problems typing into the UI. So like I renamed the first 4 just fine, that we started with, but the ones that came later we did end up having a crash, and so I'm avoiding doing the renaming. I do, like, it is clearly intended to be a thing. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely fine, Treacle. But yeah, you can rename them. We've got a couple renamed already. Yeah, no, we could definitely pump the air out entirely as well. I think the thing that's getting our air pressure to be so high, yeah, because the air pressure down here is fine now. I think it's literally all that steam got out, and it just massively bumped the air pressure up. Yeah, so we're just venting air out again and again. And that's all I need, is for these to start fluctuating where they're just being able to produce a little bit of oxygen. Consider the example of Palwo. Clone the world, premise, and IP of Pokemon franchise. It gets away with it because it added base building factory mechanics. You know nothing about this game, but it requires innovation to bring the new concepts to something new. Does Adaptory do this? If so, how? So Palworld's big problem is the IP rip side of things, where it's very clearly taking the art assets of Pokemon and doing stuff that is perhaps closer to the pin than theirs. So theirs is more of a copyright thing, not like a game clone kind of thing, because no one would look at a Pokemon game in Palworld and be like, these are the same game so far as like one is a turn-based RPG and the other is a survival crafter. So this one, like, art assets-wise, like, the characters are all different art assets, and yeah, you've got buildings and all that, but all the art assets are different. The grid part, I mean, it's dirt. It's gonna look like dirt. Like, the grid is the thing that looks very oxygen not included to me, the things on the grid. But the big difference here is, again, it's trying to do more of a RimWorld thing where you have, like, random events, these kind of things. It's less focused on doing all the chemistry and all that Oxygen Not Included does, and it's trying to be more of like a Dwarf Fortress storyteller, that kind of thing. But it's early access, so there's not a lot there yet. So that's kind of the difference. So it's again, kind of the same play field, but the actual thing they're aiming to accomplish is different. Like, you're still interacting with the grid, and all that kind of stuff. I do think they could do more to differentiate the game to be different easier. Like, I do think people mentioned changing the UI up. I honestly, like, regardless of that, it looks like Oxygen Not are included. I do feel like some of the UI stuff here, like using the same icon for science buildings and for science there, I feel like that's a little convoluted, or not convoluted, it's a little confusing. I keep going for this, looking for my research, because it just says science. It could benefit by just having, like, on here, like, literally just have a thing that's like build menu. Like, just straight up put a label on it that says build menu, give it some colorization and all that kind of stuff, and then have, like, this up here. This stuff up here is totally fine. They call that, I don't... So I know oxygen has a day-night cycle so far as the sleep level. I can't remember if oxygen has a day-night cycle so far as like actual sunlight. I don't honestly remember that. Because usually by that stage I'm worrying about that. I've got so much other stuff sorted. So I need them to pop up here to bleed off a little bit more air. So I'm just trying to get the air pressure down here. I'm probably just gonna need to straight up vent it. How do I want to go about venting a lot of air at once? So one way I could do it is we could do this the pretty lazy way. We can just find one of these areas and just open a hole in the wall and then just let it go. I'm just trying to do it where it pulls from the carbon dioxide area and not from up top where we have the air. Because that's where the oxygen's popping out. I need to get the carbon dioxide out, is what I need to do. So I think that's... I mean, the air pressure's not that bad down there. It's even getting pretty okay up here. It's not great. Yeah, they're getting stuck down there collecting those things. And they're kind of looping there, which is causing the problem. Alright. So, what I'm going to do to just do a quick and dirty fix, just dig a hole through the wall, let it out. Just pop this cork. And this isn't me trying to convince you that you should buy the game. It's very, very early access. We don't know how it's going to turn out or anything like that. I'm just pushing back on the clone language that people are, you know, basically being extremely critical of it. For being too similar to another game. Alright, so we're just dumping all this air out the side. And luckily resurrecting people is pretty easy. What was I just seeing over there? Oh, okay. Alright. So let's seal that off. That should do. So he dropped about 6 pounds of pressure per block. I did not make a way up here, so we'll need to deal with this. So we can put more solar panels over there. Because the thing that's causing your air pressure problems is the carbon dioxide, the coal power plant. It's just... I've been using that to replace the air that we're venting out into space. But it also means I'm making lots of air with it. Which means my air pressure is getting higher. Like, I kind of just want to see this thing get set up to be done with its stuff. The really big thing that's holding us up now is the corallites. Oh, so you need it to be colder than it is, and you need water. Oh, you need to be grown in water. Alright. The distress beacon is fully supplied? What? I must have just had it laying there. Alright, distress beacon. I guess someone just had to physically... Oh, that's what they were trying to do, is they kept going down there trying to grab that stuff. It kept dying going for it. The distress beacon has left the Terra 4 orbit. It is now traveling at ultralight speed, and it should reach the ISCA headquarters on the planet Terra in an estimated 7 Terran weeks. It looks like a shooting star. There it goes. See you soon, Terra. Come in, SCA headquarters. Come in. You and your crew have worked together against all odds to repair the distress beacon and launch it into deep space. With a little assistance from ISEA, you'll soon be able to continue your journey. Words are hard. Congratulations, you have completed the storyline version of Adaptory, but there will be more story awaiting in the future, free updates. We're working hard on getting additional content and gameplay systems into Adaptory version 1.0, including the final endgame sequence, which will have the roadmap we'll look at. You can continue playing in the planetoid, explore deeper in the sandbox mode. Yes, there's the sandbox mode that has stuff. So if we pull up the roadmap, we can hopefully get an actual, like, idea of what's to come. So, alright. Just trying to get the roadmap. Yeah, so we look at what we've got going here. Where are you? But the thing's trying to differentiate all that. So they've got like the random events, like we saw the Aurora Borealis, the meteor showers and all that. But there's going to be a lot of other ones they're talking about adding. There'll be weather events, different problem situations, relationship situations where people will get into arguments and fights and all that kind of stuff. They're going to have these journals and all that, which is, you know, it's a cool thing. They need to add more. They do have, like, this is the oxygen not included stuff, but they're going to be adding a bunch of stuff there. But it's really this down here area, like all the random events and all that. And again, you can decide for yourself, is that enough of differentiation and all that? I do think it's going to be, as long as they continue to develop, obviously we don't know, it's just early access now. But as long as they keep developing and adding to it, I do think there's plenty of room for this game to stand out on stream. That said, it is very, very early access. As you can see, we've kind of finished the main story in the game right now, and we're only about 4 hours into stream. And for a new game, I'm not going to go into the sandbox. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's a little light on the content side. Like, it's definitely light on the content side for the time being, which, if you remember when Oxygen Not Included released in its initial release, it wasn't a whole lot different so far as what you had available. You had your basic oxygen and water systems, and that was kind of the main part. Like, you had where you could, like, pump out the water and all that, but we didn't have all those extra systems, like radiation wasn't a thing, germs weren't a thing. You know, temperature here was causing our plants to be messed with, but that's about it. But yeah, so it's definitely very early access. So if you're someone who's like, I am ready to spend money for a complete experience or whatever, it's not there yet. Like, very genuinely, it's not there yet. Yeah, and Oxygen Not Included has been being developed for almost a decade. But yeah, so it is pretty early game. So if you're someone who's like looking to buy a game and like have a game you're gonna sit down and put a bunch of hours into, it's not there yet. I like what I tried, but this is this to me be like a step over a demo, but like pretty content dry for early access. Like, I feel like they probably should have held off rolling this out a little bit longer till they had a little bit more in there, personally. But at the same time, I think it's got a good start and all that stuff. Have you tried Space Haven? Yeah, a long while back. It's one of the games I've been meaning to get back to. There was like 3 games at that same time that Space Haven came out that are all kind of trying to do the exact same thing, and like, you know, different iterations. That's not me saying like they're copies of each other, but like they're all trying to be like, RimWorld but space, and they're all trying to do their own slice of it. And they've diverged a lot, which is great, and all that stuff. So what's going to end up happening here is I don't see us doing another playthrough of Adaptory right now. So I got to figure out what we're going to be doing next, for now. So kind of the options, I'll go ahead and get a poll going, because I like what I got there. I think that's good. I don't regret picking, because I bought that, by the way. What are we doing now? Like, it wasn't one I got a key given to me or anything like that. I did purchase that. I had requested a key, but that was only like a day or two ago. They haven't had a chance to respond, and I was just like, hell with it, I'm playing it. So put TCG Card Shop Simulator on the list. We'll put Water Park Simulator on the list, which that'd be a new run. We did Adaptory today, so let me go ahead and mark that so I don't Worry about that. I don't think I want to jump into, because I'm looking at the poll stuff I've got going on the Discord. I don't think I want to jump into the long dark till I get more feedback on the poll, just because survival mode, the long dark, is not a pop in for 15-20 minutes, you know, a couple of hours, and you get it done. And some of the other ones I gotta double check that I've got what's the word I'm looking for? Embargoes, which means I'm not allowed to stream it until a certain point. I think we're past that point with all of them, but I don't want to screw that up. That gets you in trouble. You know what? I'm honestly gonna just keep the list nice and short. Yeah, I'll just keep the list nice and short. I'm trying to think of like putting one on here that is not a simulator, like Tycoon Commerce kind of thing, just in case people are tired of seeing that, because I've played a couple days of that now. Just in case people are like itching for something else, to be able to have that feedback. But I'm kind of waffling on what I'd want to do otherwise. So we might just be doing that and saying to heck with it, we're doing it. I'm pretty sure the Hotel Architect would be the other one I consider. I'm pretty sure that's one of the embargo ones. That I've got early access to one of their major updates. But I can't make content. Well, I can make it, I can't share content with it until a certain date. And that's normal. That's just how those things go. They give us early access, but we have to but they make us wait so we can all do it at the same time. Yeah, we'll just go with the 2 games on that poll. Alright, so I'll go ahead and get that poll going. So basically, I just have the 2 games on there. We can continue what we were doing in TCG Card Shop Simulator. That's a game we've been playing the last, like, 2 streams, and then, like, part of a stream before that. Otherwise, we could check out Water Park Simulator. Water Park Simulator, it's another one of those, like, silly, you run around, you're running a water park, I can't remember, you like spray the people who sneak in and don't have their wristbands and all that kind of stuff, but same basic idea. You're running a little business and all that. It's very much going entirely TCG Card Shop Simulator. Alright, so bear with me for a moment, because it's going to take me a moment to get everything flipped over. But yeah, so that was Adaptory. Like I said, I think it's got a good start. I do think it is a little on the content dry side, keeping in mind it is a solo dev, but it is just one of those things that they do take time to get things going. But if you're buying now, I usually, when it comes to early access, my standpoint is, for the money you're spending, did you get your money's worth? And in that sense, I do feel like you're buying more into the promise of what the game would be versus what the game is in this particular case. So that is my feedback there. It does give, like, it is encouraging that what they've got, but like that isn't a game, like it's not got enough in it yet for you to like properly sit down and play that for a while. Is kind of where my thought is. All right, so let's get some of our music going, because we got the music turned off in the game because it's super repetitive. And bear with me on the YouTube side. It's going to take me a moment to flip everything over there. Okay. So give me 2 seconds to get it sorted. Manage videos. There's all these different things you have to do. This is one of the reasons I actually don't switch categories midstream very much anymore. Is all this stuff. Okay, so we can go ahead and do this. I need to get our video going. Start that, enter all the metadata. Now with more Destiny, because that's our card set. We got all that's fine. Make sure I got all my meta tags right so I'm not breaking any rules. Because YouTube just really loves to be like, oh, let me just unset your includes advertisement thing here. Oh no, you have an ad and you didn't disclose it. I haven't done that yet, but I've heard people get knocked for it. So I'm always paranoid about it. And it's like every third time it forgets that flag and I have to reset it. Because technically I've got the thing where above here it says Fractal, because I am sponsored by Fractal. I'm required to disclose that it is sponsored. Alright, so let me quickly see here. I just need to go to the settings here, so when I end this one, it kicks everyone over to the new one. There's just way too many tick boxes for all this stuff. And you set the defaults, but it forgets half of the time. All right, where's your redirect? Where is your redirect? I'm just trying to set it to redirect over to the new stream. There it is. Okay. All right. So everyone over on YouTube, you're about to get kicked over to the new stream, but thanks for watching. Who or what is Fractal? Fractal is a hardware company. They sell computer cases, headsets,